Alright, so now let's upload some images. Now in order to upload, we need an upload controller, which we have already created, which is right there. So this is great. Let's add the data variable over here, and here I want to do data title like this, and then put the upload like that. Now a good idea would be to put in your controller generator this part as well. So what you can do is go to where is this, the Thunder part here, where there are samples here, because remember you can always change this. So if I go to controller, let me copy that part, and this is the controller sample page that will be generated, used to generate your thingy, whatever it is. So I want whatever the controller name is, so I want to copy this class name over to here like so. That way when there's a title, it puts that there, and then I'll do this and put data over there. I should have done this so that at least every controller you create already has a title set in there. Okay, so I'm going to close that, and now we have this. So here we're going to want to check whether something was uploaded. Okay, so we do this by, let's use the request controller. So this one is in the, not the controller, the request class. So let's do request like so. So we create a new request thingy. We also need to know who you are, so we're gonna need a session variable as well. So let's use core session there, like so. Okay, so we have a session, we have a request. Now to know that something was posted, we use new request like that, and then we do posted like so. Now you don't have to use these, you can use the ordinary is the server request method. That's up to you, because this is exactly what it's doing actually internally, as we did when creating this. So if something was posted like that, then great. Let's look at the data that was posted. We can grab it by doing request and using post like that. So all the post data is now in here. Then we can do what we want with it. Then if things go well, we're gonna have to redirect to the upload, no, actually not uploads, but the photos page there. We redirect like so, but only if everything went absolutely well. Now, since we're just uploading photos, we don't need to validate anything. But if you were going to validate things, you would do this. You would say if, but first of all, we need a photo new. So if we check in the models here, we have a photo model. It's inside model namespace, so it shows clearly that this is the photos table we're dealing with. There's no unique column here, so we can ignore this. It doesn't have to be there. And then here we have to put the actual columns that we are dealing with, but we're going to edit that momentarily. For now, let's just do this. This is in the model namespace, and we're going to say model like that. Now, if you don't want to be doing this all the time, you just want to write the request, blah, 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 you can use here, you can say use, like so, and then you do model, and then you say photo, like that. So once you do that, it's like importing this class in here, and then now you can just say new photo, like that. So this works as well. You can do the same with these guys as well. The only problem is if you find yourself with similar class names, then you do this, it's going to create problems if you list them here. So you can list them here like so. Let me grab this and say use, like that, and one more here, like that, say use. Okay, so once you do that, it means you can ignore the base names like so. So there it becomes just request is equal to new request session. These are different names, so this is fine. If there are some with similar names, it's better you put those slashes here directly so that it knows exactly which of the two you're talking about. Okay, so we have those. That's great. Now what I want is to be able to upload a photo. So there's data that is coming in, and actually in the post data there is nothing, because when uploading, maybe we can put a title for the image. I think we can do that. So maybe there'll be a title there, which is fine, but I want to add a few more pieces of data here. For example, the date created does not exist here yet, so we can use that very date function that we created there, like so. Okay, and then duplicate it and date updated. Now date updated should be empty actually, so this one should be null, so we shouldn't even show it there anyway. Yeah, so let me look at the columns that are there in the table itself. So this is we're on the users table, but let's go to the photos table. So there's date created, and then there's image and user ID. So instead, let me put user ID here, and the user ID will come from the session. The current logged in user will grab that by doing this and saying ID. So we grab the user's ID, and what else? The image itself is the actual image. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say image is equal to, let's start with an empty string. Now here the reason is that our files are inside the post variable instead, so we're going to do request files like that. Okay, so instead of request post, request files, because the files usually come in through there. Now since we know this is just one file and it's going to be named image, so we're going to grab it from the image section here. So we'll say if not empty, right, just to check, we're going to say files image like that, because that's the location, image name like that. So if there is a name somewhere, it means something was posted, and in order to move the file, we just need to use the move uploaded file function. So this one asks us where the source of the file is, and the source of the file is in here inside tmp_name. Now if you want to know where all the details of this are, you can simply do a show to show the contents of this. So just echo the contents of this, or print readable the contents of this. You will see all this that I'm using here. Or you can check out my tutorials on uploading images. I've done quite a number of them, right? So here let's look at destination. Let's create the destination file. So first of all, we need to create a folder. It's better to use folders. So our folder is going to be uploads / like so. And then of course we have to check if it exists or not. So if it does not exist, folder. So let's put an exclamation point here to say if it does not exist, then let's do mkdir. Let's make that directory, and that's the folder name. Let's give ourselves permission and say recursive true. Okay, so that true there is only important if you've got folders that are tiled like that, or it's a chain of folders, because they need to create any folders that are missing in between to get to the one you want. So if it doesn't exist, let's put that there. Let's also put an index page there for security reasons. So I'm going to say file put contents in that file there. So the file name will be folder inside that same folder, and then dot, and then here we're going to say index.php. So we're putting an index.php page that is empty, like that, just so if anyone navigates to that folder, it will load that index that is empty. so they don't see actual files. Okay, so move uploaded files, we move them to the destination. So destination here is equal to the folder, of course, and then the file name. Now, file names tend to avoid repeating ourselves. We're going to put time like that in between. So it's going to start with a number, and the time digit is always unique. As long as 1 second has passed, then it's a unique number. Now, if you want it to be very, very unique, you can use micro time like this. Yeah, micro time, and then put true in here like that. And then here it will be very accurate, even though it's the same second, because it uses milliseconds as well. But I don't want to go that deep. So what I'm going to do is just use time. And here we're going to use the actual file name of the file. But it's going to be unique because of this time variable here. So, and the file name is just inside name, like so. Okay, so we've uploaded that file. But also, we just don't want to upload every file. We need to have the allowed types here. We need to know what types are allowed. So we're going to have image JPEG, because otherwise we'll be in trouble if we try to resize, let's say, a TXT file that does not match what we want. So image WebP is allowed as well. So those three, you can put image GIF as well if you want. And then we're going to say if in array. Okay, so what's the need is what we are looking for. So the type of file here will be inside type. So the need is here inside type. The haystack is this array we are checking in. So I'm going to put that over there like so. Okay, great. So if everything went well, we'll have a destination. And let's move this over here. Now, instead of destination here, because we want to use this instead, because we already have that variable. So I'm going to replace destination with that. Okay. So that it becomes this, which is good. So if the file is uploaded, that is great. But it would be nice if we just resize the file on the fly. Yes. So I'm going to do image is equal to new. Now, I'm not sure the image class is inside the models namespace. So I'm going to do model image like this. Now, I'm using this slashed version here because I didn't include it here where I said use. So that's okay. And then we're going to say image is image resize like so. And then I'm going to resize the same file that I have just moved. So I've moved it to this location. So that's where I'm going to resize it from. And you must provide at least some kind of maximum value here. So 1000 pixels is my limit. Now it's up to you. You look at the quality and change this value accordingly. So if you want files that are bigger than 1000 pixels, you can. We can put it at 1200 as the upper limit. This is okay because when displaying them in the list there, we're going to crop the images anyway. So this is fine. It's going to work out great. But yeah, let me just put 1000 there. Oh, okay, great. This looks good. And then we redirect if things did go well. So if not empty, blah, blah, blah. So it would be nice if we only regard a success when we are here. So I'm going to move this redirect in there like so. Okay. Now, there are times when you may need to validate some data. So yeah, just like here, we got that data. I want to do if. In this case, I want to use a photo, which is the photo class. I'm going to say validate, right? So let's check it out. Let's go to the photo.php model. Is there a validate function? No, it does not exist. Okay, because there are validation rules over here, right? Okay, forgotten what the validation thingy is. Actually, the only thing we need to validate here is, I didn't put validation for images. This is one thing I forgot, right? But this is fine. We're going to validate the title because we're going to have an image title. So it doesn't have to be unique. It doesn't have to be an email. It's just required. And it should be alpha, I guess. Alphanumeric maybe. Or alpha symbol or something. So alphanumeric symbol. I think that will do just fine. Alphanumeric symbol. Like so, and it's required. Okay, great. So we can use that to validate. And let me go to model here. I want to see what the function is that does the validation. I forget what it is called. This is most likely it's called validate. Yeah, it is. Okay, so if we go back here, this one is validate function. And let's put in our data that we are validating here. Like so. So I'm just gonna duplicate this here so I don't have to move this down there. Then I can remove this like so. Alrighty, great. This is going on well. Okay, now we need to capture the errors as well. So the errors, if any, are going to be inside photo errors. So we're gonna check here where if the validation doesn't go well, then we grab any errors that we think might be there. So we don't even need to put an else statement. We're just going to say errors, and I'm going to put that inside data like so. And say errors is equal to photo errors, because that model contains the errors that it found while trying to validate. Okay, so sometimes this may be empty, but still we need it to always be there so that we can easily check for it. Actually, we don't need it to always be there. We can still deal without it being there. Okay, so this is fine here. If everything goes well, we're going to redirect to the photos page, and we're gonna do that. But wait a minute, we haven't actually saved in the database yet, so this is not correct. So here I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say photo and go ahead and say insert like that, and we insert whatever is inside data like so. Okay, so insert, great. This one is image, great. Okay. Alrighty then, so things look great here. If there are any errors, we're gonna see them. But let's look for the upload. Let's create the upload view file. So we're gonna copy how the homepage looks like, and let's create a new version of this. We should probably add a view creator in the command line 2 as well, maybe. Let's remove the hero section. We don't need that. And this part that I need here, let me actually just save this as upload.view.php. Now the part we need here could be kind of like the login page. So let's look for the login or sign up view. I'm just going to copy the sign up view here, and let me go to the upload.view and paste the content right there. So I'm going to change that to upload image, the title, and we have a form right here. And we'll see we only need a title here, so this is going to be title. All right, and then we're going to need an image, so just the title and an image. So the input here can be a form control. Now what you could do instead is you could go to the Bootstrap website, because they do have some better stuff here. Instead of you having to, let's go to input group here. Let's see what they've got, because I've seen some stuff where there is an image uploader or a file uploader that looks a little bit better. So let's There's a button there. That's a button. Drop down button. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, so like this one right here where we just click to, oh, no. Choose. Okay, options, choose. So this is an options thingy. Custom file input. I think this is where we are at. So this one, I think this one is okay. So, yep. So I'm going to get this second one here, which is over here. I'll copy that and I will paste it here like so. Okay. So instead of upload, we're going to say select image or something. Let's remove these inputs for email and password. We don't need these guys, but we will need the error thingy for the image part here. In case there's an error from an image, we want to see it there. So I'm going to select that. Instead of sign up, this is going to be upload. And that's the title. The placeholder here is going to be image title. Like that. Okay. The name is title. The name of this is type file, but the name should be image, like that. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so let's get back here and let's try the upload file, and there it is. So it says undefined variable user online 8. Let's see, what's this whole thing about user online 8 right there? Okay, it says user get error. Okay, so wait a second. Get error. All right. This is interesting. So I don't even remember creating this. So which means we can use photo like that to get the errors from there, right? So let's go to the upload section here, and instead of declaring our photo class, where did we declare it? There it is, right? We can also add the same thing to, wait a minute. We need this very instance with whatever we've added to it to be added to the data section here. If there are any errors, that is. So what we're going to do is say data photo be equal to photo, like this. I'm adding it here so that we can have access to it in the view section. So whatever we add inside the data thing, so undefined variable photo. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go down here like this so that we make sure whatever the if statement, we have it in there. So let me refresh, and there we go. Okay, so select file, browse, no file selected, select image. Maybe we didn't need that, but whatever. So what I'm going to do is we select an image, but it would be nice to actually see the image before we upload it. It takes a bit of coding, but I think it's worth it. So what we're going to do is let's put a div over here. And in here, I'm going to put an image, and the source of this image will be, what will be the source? We'll say get image like that, just so that it's an empty image. I'm going to put a class here, and the class will be img thumbnail. Okay, let's see what we get with that. So no image available, very nice. But I want it to be auto on both sides, so it's in the center. And I don't think this is gonna work, but if we change the display to block, it might just work. So let's refresh, and there it is. So it's in the center. And it would be nice if I just click on this to add the image, I guess. We can do that if you want. Actually, we can. There's a label here. Where is this? When we're selecting the image, there's a label, and it says for this, right? It's for this part here, this input. So when we click on it, it actually goes to that. Now what we can do instead, where we say select image, okay, this might not work out. Interesting though. But what we can do is, let's put a label here, another one outside. Let's move this down there, and let's do this. Because usually when you put things in a label like this, it's like clicking all of them at once. So if I click here, it actually works. So that is good, actually. But unfortunately, this label, yeah, let me put a class here of dblock. I think it's gonna act better when I set it as a blocked. Okay, there we go. Now on the image here, I want the cursor of the image, so I'm gonna use style. I don't know the bootstrap equivalent of cursor pointer, so I'm not gonna bother trying to find it. I'm just gonna put a style there. All right, so let's refresh, and now if I hover and click on that, I can select an image, but it won't immediately show here, so we gotta put some work in there to display it there. So what I want to do is, on the change event of this one, I want to grab a specific item. So here there's a class, and I'm going to put a class of JS. I'll name it JS so I know I'm using it for JavaScript. Image preview, that's what I'm going to call it. So I'm going to copy that. And then on the change event of this one here, on change, I want to find a function called display image, and this function will be inside JavaScript. So I'm going to send a file here. I'm going to say this.files0, like that. So the reason I'm doing this is going to be a JavaScript function that we're going to create. It doesn't exist yet. So whenever we change the file here, this is triggered. So this function will run. But we are supplying some data inside that function. So this refers to whatever element we're inside. And this element has got some attributes like the name, the type, the value. So you can say .value and say this .value and you get that value, this .name and you get this value here. But there's a property called files, which is an array that stores all the files you add to this file thing. So if you select multiple files, since it's an array, it can accommodate all of those. But we just want the first file selected, so that's why we're doing files 0 like that. So we're supplying that file to wherever it can be used here. So let's put a script tag here. That way we can put a function called display image that we have created here, that we have referenced, and it's going to accept a file variable here. So whatever file we send there, we're going to capture it inside this file variable. And now what we want to do is grab this item using its class name and then put that source as the file that was put in there. Okay, so it's as simple as just saying document.querySelector, and this is how we grab items on the page. And you put a dot because it's a class name, and then you put the name of the class and you say dot source. So the source attribute of this item, this element, the source, we're going to set it to the file. So we're going to say file. But that file is actually a blob. It's an array with properties and stuff. So we can't just put that as the what's the word? We can't just put that as the value. We have to convert it somehow from a blob to a URL. So there's a function that comes with JavaScript called URL, and in there it's got a method or a function called create object URL. So that's what we're going to use, and put that file name in there, and things are going to work just fine. So let's give it a test run and see. So I'm going to refresh, click on that and select, and there we go. Look at that, looking good, right? Let's select this one, and there we go. So very good. But unfortunately, if we select a file type that does not support we're going to have problems here. So let's say we get this zip file over here, and look at that. So we shouldn't accept these. We should at least tell the user. Of course, when the user tries to post this, it's not going to fly here because already we have allowed specific file types. So we should warn this user before they actually upload the file, because this PHP only happens after the upload is complete. So it would be not a good idea to find that the file you're uploading isn't supported after waiting. Maybe the file is quite large. After waiting a while, that's when you figure it out. So we should warn them in advance before the upload process starts. So we're going to say let allowed is equal to that. So these are the allowed formats. And then we're just going to ask the question, if file.type, because it's an object, this is actually an object with properties like type, name, etc. Just like we have over here, where this has type, has temp name, has name, and it's even got size and stuff that I didn't use here. So you can check for the file size if you have a restriction there as well. So if file.type, actually we should check if it's included in here. So we're just going to say if allowed dot includes file.type, right? So here we're going to put an exclamation point. If it's not in there, then let's abort mission. So we're going to say return like that. And then we're going to say something like alert. File type not supported. Actually, the only files supported are, okay, and then we put a plus there. That's how we concatenate in JavaScript, and then we convert this to a string. We say .toString, and then .replace. I want to replace the image parts, replace all, and I want to replace the image slash from each of those texts with an empty string. That way it's going to say only supported images are, and it's going to show JPEG, PNG, and WebP without these image parts here. Right. Now the problem here is that at least I'm not aware, or I haven't spent time in figuring out how you can remove a file that was added in this input. So let's say the user doesn't add the appropriate file that is allowed. I can't really remove it using code from there to avoid them uploading it. So this is why we have redundancies here, so that if they do go ahead and upload that file, even though it's not supported, then it's going to be rejected over here. Now the reject here, when we don't find the type of file that we want, if in array, so this should only happen if the file type is correct. So let's move these in there like so. And then if the file type is not correct, let's put an else statement here. We should create an error, and let's put this error inside here so that here we can grab them together. So say so errors image like so is going to be equal to file type not supported, like that. Okay, so we've added that error to the class here, so that if we grab all the errors inside the class, it will be one of those errors there. Okay, very good. Now what we're going to do is I'm trying to upload this that I've put here and see what happens, right? I'm going to click upload, and we get some errors, and it says model on insert validate rules. Okay, undefined property on insert validate rules. Okay, model 166. Okay. Wait. Let me go to the photo model. There's just validate rules here. So we have to do this. We have to say on insert validate capital V, because that's the property that it's looking for here. This one right there. So I'm going to copy that. I think I may have forgotten to do this. And I forgot to do this in the sample itself, the model sample here. It's not supposed to have this validation rules. It should have on insert validate rules. So these are things I should have paid attention to. And while we're at it anyway, let me close that. While we're at it, we should fix the photo.php thingy. So first of all, we need to grab all the columns from the photo table so that we replace them with the correct ones here. So I'm going to put commas on these. Oops, what am I doing? Select the commas, and I'm going to do that and this. Okay, so these are the columns that are allowed in there. So great. I think that works out. Photos, primary key. We don't really need this here, so I'm just leaving it there. Maybe we can put ID. That way when we say something is unique, it will use this column to check against. Okay, there we go. Let's try again, right? Refresh, resend. So it says title is required. Okay, so we require a title. Why didn't I see the other error here? Maybe it didn't go that far because it has to validate this input first before it goes to validate this. So let's add a title. Let's say my image. We're going to say my first image, and let's upload. Okay, so there should be an error showing here because it didn't work out. Let's go to the table and see if anything was posted. Nothing. So it didn't work out, which means probably there was an error, but we can't see it. Let's go back to the view here for a second. Get error image, right? Okay. Photo, get error image. This one showed just fine, but this one does not. Okay. Back here to the upload. So if it passed here and it uploaded a file, I think it didn't. Let's see, allowed. Oh, we don't have an error here. So if there's not allowed, file type not supported. Okay, that's great. Here as well, we can put a file is required or something. Yeah. Let's put an else there. An image is required. Okay, so those are errors we can use. Okay, let me see if that's working out. Okay, an image is required. Okay, great. Seems like we're on the right path after all. Okay, let's see if I put a zip file instead. Only files of type blah 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 are allowed. Okay, it warned me, but let's say I go ahead and upload. An image is required. It still says that. Okay, great. So let's try and add a valid image. I'm gonna add this beautiful woman here, and let's say upload. An image is required. Okay, so we have a problem here somewhere. So it says an image is required, which means this part is not going through. So if not empty, image name. Okay, so this seems to be the problem. So what I'm going to do here is let's do show and let's do files like that. So let's see what's being sent actually. So I'm going to click here. Let's click something we know won't work, like this sample image here, the sample zip file. As you can see, the array is empty. Okay, so I know what's going on here. So let me remove that. So every time you see an array that's empty for files, just know your form is the problem. So let's go back to the form. The form must be formatted properly to allow files. So you need to change the encoding type to multi-part dash slash actually form data, like that. Okay, once we do that, we are allowing files to be uploaded here. So let's refresh our page. So I'm gonna do refresh and resend. Okay, so let me click here. Let's go to the zip file. Let's add a zip file, warning, upload, and file type not supported. Okay, understood. Let's add that now that we know it's supported, and let's hit upload. And there it is. So it took us to the photos page here, which is nice because the photo was added now, but we are in the photos place and we don't have a view file. Interesting. Okay, not to worry. Let's go to the home page first and deal with that issue there. But let's go to our table and see. So in the table, you see there's a user ID, the image path, the date created, and so on and so forth. And also, if we go to the public folder, we have uploads here, and we can see the file was uploaded just fine. So things did work out, and I want to check the resolution of this file to make sure that 1000 is the maximum, and indeed it doesn't go above 1000. So that is awesomeness. All right, so far so good. Now we just have to display the images, right? We display our images on the home page first, so let's see that. So I'm gonna go to my homepage controller. So homepage controller here, and we want to read from the database. Now, in order to read from the database, we need to instantiate the photo class so that we can read photos. So here I'm gonna say use model photo. That way I can instantiate it without having to write all of that. This can be useful if there's a chain of these namespaces, because namespaces can be quite long. Here we're just using one, but you can put multiple of these. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna say photo is equal to new photo, like that. Okay, and then we're going to say rows is equal to photo, and then we say get all. I don't know if it's get all or find all. Let's see. I think it's find all. We're gonna see if that actually works. But we're sending this to the home page, so I'm going to put this inside data like that so that I can read it from the home page there. For now, let me just see if the home page will load without errors. And there it is, so which means we're probably on the right path. So here what I'm going to do now is go to my home view page, so home view. And over here we should have something we can put in here. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have a class here and call this one row like this, so I can put some content in there. I'm going to put a div here, put a class, and call this one I'm going to call it a card. I'm going to put a margin of 2 around it like that, and let's do this. All right, so this is great. I just want to see if it's reading anything from in here. So let's put an if statement, some PHP tags, of course. Let's put an if statement and see if it's not empty, rows like that. And then we're going to do what we're going to do. Let's put end if over there, like so, and let's push things inward like that. I'm going to duplicate this, duplicate that, and do this. Change this to a for each so that we do for each like so. And this is supposed to be a loop, so as a single row like that. And then I'm going to duplicate that as well so that I can put an else statement like that, and then I'm going to put another div like that and say no images found like that, and I'm going to put a class and say put some padding and text center like that. Alright, and then here we're gonna loop. If there's something going on in here like we have here, I'm gonna put get image like that. Okay, close that, and then here I'm gonna put row image like so. Okay, let's put some classes on this. I'm gonna put image thumbnail. This div over here, I need a maximum max width. Actually, let me not use this. Let me do, since this is a row, the container, the main container, this one I'm gonna say column, and then do not MD but SM, maybe small, and let's do 3. Let's do that. So 3 columns out of 12, and then it should go to maximum at the small view. And then I'm gonna do this, put a div here, and here I want to echo the title. Close that, but I want to escape this just in case it's got special characters like that. Let's put a class here. Usually for the card, there's a card header, and then there's card footer as well. I don't know if that's going to work out well, but let's see how that looks. So I'm going to refresh, and there we go. So we have this, which is nice. But what's going on here? Title does not exist. It doesn't know what title is. Wait. Let's check our database here. Oh, the image does not have a title. Oh boy. Okay, I think that may have slipped my mind. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, let's see here, photo, there's the image, there should be title here, because we are putting an image title somewhere. And let's go to our migration as well, and let's put title there. Okay, just so when we recreate it, it's gonna have that. The title should be at least just a 100 characters like that. Okay, and then we can go now to the actual database and go to the structure and add one more column here since we missed it. So I'm gonna go, you can add specifically where you want, after ID for example. Shouldn't have been after ID, but it's fine. I'm gonna add title varchar 100, allow no values. Okay, there we go. So if we go back to the browse, there is a title here. Where is that title? There it is. It's no, but let's see, image title. I'm just going to put a value in there for now as a temporal measure. So there we go, the image title. There it is. I don't know why I put a capital M here. Something like that. Okay, so there we go, image title. But the image, I want a very specific width and height here. So what I'm going to go in the home view here, what I can do is I can actually limit what I can see. The only problem is the image itself will still be big. I can actually limit the dimensions here by using image cover, something like this. If I do style, and I'm going to say object fit and say cover, and then I can do width, I can say 100%, but then height can be limited to 200 pixels. Maybe I can do that. Let's see, if I refresh, this is the kind of thing I get Maybe 200 is a bit too little. Let's put 250. Let's see there, refresh, and there we go. Okay, so there's an image there. But if we go ahead and inspect this image, you'll see that the actual resolution of the image is bigger than what we are displaying. So there's no need for us to suffer like this. The height is 250, so let's just give a thumbnail that is squared off. 250 by 250, right? So what I'm gonna do, let's try that. If I do 250 here, pixels by 250, let me see how that will look. Okay, it will look like that. Then let me try and do 2 columns instead here. Okay, much better. And then still I need to center the stuff in here. So I'm just going to say text center like that, so that the image and the text will always be centered as well, like that. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just say BG light, and I'm going to remove the border. Oh wait, where is the border anyway? I think card is the one that's doing that. Let's remove that. Let's see. Okay, card is what puts the border there. Okay. Alright, I think that's okay. Now in here I want to put padding, so I'm going to put P4 so that there's padding between this thing and the container. And then on top of that, I'm going to say justify content center, like that, so that everything goes to the center. Okay, so we have our first image here. This is working out just fine. Okay, so let's add some more images and see what's going on. Now the thing is, like I had said, the resolution here, let me remove this object fit, width and height here, so that we see the real image the way it looks. So the real image is way bigger. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have it resize. So I'm just going to create the image class from here, and I'm just going to say is equal to new image. Then I'll tell it to use the image model here from the model class instead of the controller, from the model namespace instead of this one. Okay, so it's going to be part of the data on the home page, so now I can use it here. So instead of just sending this in here, I'm gonna do that, put it inside a bracket, then send it through the image get thumbnail, like that. And let's specify the values for our thumbnail. So this one is going to be 250 by 250, so cropped to that size. And let me refresh, and there we see it's cropped to 250 by 250, but that doesn't look very nice at all. So I never tested it on a square image at all. So let me try just put 260 here by 250, 260 width. I never tested if it works well on a square image at all, but let's see. If I go to the uploads folder, this is the resize 250 by 250. Now because this is long and high here, things are not working as they should, but let's try and vary those. I'm going to refresh and it looks much better. So I think I never took into account when creating the crop function, if these two values are exactly the same. Let me try 251 by 250. Let's see if even that slight variation, yeah, even that alone does wonders. So as long as they're just not the same, it works better. So I'll vary them by 1 pixel. Yeah, So you see, the first image is 125 kilobytes. This one is only 17. So that's a huge saving there, especially when the images get more and more. And what I'm going to do is put an A tag around this guy so that we can click. Let's see if I do that, what effect it's going to have. Yeah, that's what I thought. So what I would do is I'll move the A tag into the actual content, like so. That way it doesn't affect the outside. So now if I click, it actually refreshes the page. So let's go over here. So I want this one to be the first image. So if I go to my hero view file, where is that hero inside includes? I can swap these. Let me put number 3 here, number 2, and then number 1 over there. So that if I refresh, it starts with this. But there we go. We have an image there. So what I'm going to do is maybe display a second image. Let's try the photos controller here. So let's go to the photos controller, and just like on the home controller here, we can do this. Now you may be wondering, how do you know the limit to how many to get here, how many files to get, or how many images? You can set this just after instantiating it and say limit, and you can limit to whatever you want. Here maybe I want 12, to limit it to 12 photos, like that. Okay, so this is fine. Now what I want to do is copy all of this and take it to the photos section of things right there, like so, because I'm gonna need this as well here. Now instead of 12, we're gonna do 24 here, and then get all, just like that. Okay, yep, this is pretty much the same thing. And then if I get the home page, copy everything, I can as well right click on the views folder and create a photos.view.php file. All I need to do is remove the hero section here, and then I can put a div, and then here maybe h3 tag or something, and then here just say photos. This is similar to what I can do on the home view page, and just say featured photos, like that. Okay, so if I refresh now, we have that featured photos, but let's add some styles or some classes here. I'm going to put class. Let's add some padding, quite an amount there. Okay, featured photos. So if I go to photos here, class controller photo not found. Okay, so when you have that issue, what's happening is this. Let me close the, actually, let me grab this, take it to the photos page, view page, and just remove the word featured. Okay, so let me close all files here. Let's go back. So we're on the photos page. Now it's telling me class controller photo not found. So let me explain what's happening here. If we go to the photos controller, you see we have a problem here. We are saying new photo, but it doesn't know where to find this because there's no photos class in the controller namespace. So this is where we have to tell it to use model photo, like that. Okay, so then it's going to use this. It knows that when we call photo, we're talking about the one that's in the model. It's actually importing it into this namespace. It's the same with image. So let's do the same thing, and let's do that. Okay, Now, if it happened that this is also this is a photos class, right? Now, if you had a photos class as well in here, if I do this importation, if this had an S in the actual class name, which would make it exactly like this one, I would have a problem when importing like this, because then I'll have two photos classes in the same place. So in a situation like this, I would have to use the method where I actually specify explicitly that the one I am instantiating is from the model namespace and not this one in the controller namespace. Hopefully those things are making sense. Let me refresh here, and it says no images found. Okay, great. That's because we didn't supply the data variable here, which we are supposed to do. Now let me refresh, and there we go. Alright, so now if I click on upload photo, I can indeed upload another photo. So let's put Ed Sheeran here. Okay, and let's upload, shall we? And there we go. It's as simple as that. Upload. Let's upload somebody else, like maybe J-Lo. Upload. And there we go. Okay. J-Lo. Alright. So this cropping doesn't always work out well, so we can always fine-tune the crop function to make it better. Because in this case, I wanted it to... Oh, the problem is we are prioritizing the height. I see what's happening here. Let me go to photos here, or let me go to the uploads folder. If I delete the J-Lo thingy, and if I go to, let's see here, the photos view, I can change, put 250 here and put 251 on the other one like this. Maybe that will help in the type of, yeah, that's much better. So maybe it's better to put the bigger one on the height than the width. So you can experiment on that. But we should have put an else statement for when the width and height are all the same, so that it crops better in this format like this. Okay, so this is fine. Let's add a few more photos here so that we keep going. There's this is Alicia Keys, and there we go. Okay, so things are working out. Now if you want to change the order of how things are loaded here, just like we added the limit here, we can also change the order to either ascending or descending by just saying ascending like that. So in this case it will swap. Wait, is this the right place? This is public photos. That is indeed the right place. So what if we try descending? Descending is what's there right now. Let me see. It didn't change a thing. Okay, so why is that? Okay, I think I know why. This is something I forgot to do. So let's go to the model.php here and let's look at the find all function. The rest of these do take into account the order, but let's see, if I go to the where clause, does it? Yeah, it does. You see this part where it says order by this column, order type, or it's actually order type. Okay, so it's my bad. It's supposed to be order type and not just order like this. So order type like so. Now if you forget those things, you can find them here in the model.php, the one that's inside core. You see limit, offset, these are the things that are possible there. So if I now refresh, it changes the order by like that. It starts with it goes in ascending order mode, but the original one is the descending order mode like this, and as you can see, there it is. So that's up to you if you wanna deal with that. Okay, with this in mind, let's see how responsive this whole thing is. So as you can see, it's quite responsive. So at some point they get really small when they are here, right? Because they're still using the same level of column number until it becomes too small. That's when they change to the maximum, like that. But we can adjust this on this is actually the medium size. So what we can do is go here. Bootstrap is good at this. So the same way we have this column small too, we can duplicate that and put one on medium. Say medium, and on medium we tell it to change to 4 places instead of 2. So there we can do, this doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so there it is, it's on medium, small. Actually this one is small, right? Yeah, okay, I see. The medium is here. What's happening? What's happening? This doesn't look like what I want to do at all. Okay, so on the... let me see. What if I put 3 here? So just experiment and see what's better. Okay, so the medium should have 2. Okay, there we go. And this one should have 4. So that as we go smaller, we increase the size of the single image. So there we go, we start with this and then we go boom, 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 until boom. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, I think it gets too small at some point. That's small. It gets 4. This one gets 3. So maybe this is 2 is too much. Let's put 3 over there. Okay, so that it doesn't get too small for us. Something like that. Okay, I think that makes it more responsive. Okay, very, very good. You can also change for large here. Let me do this. If that large screen is not good enough, we can do LG and then do 2 here, like that. That way, no, not 2 actually, but 4. Or is it? I can't even keep track anymore now. No, actually 2, to make them smaller. Okay, so boom. That way on the large screen it's like this, and then it changes like 3 times. So from the large screen here, then boom, it changes to that, and then that, and then that. So very responsive with Bootstrap. All right, there we go. So things are working out well. Now we want to see the single view of an image so that we can actually see who created this image and see the full version of the image. So if I click, it should take me there to the photo controller, single photo, right? That's the one. This is where we will have this problem that I was talking about in the controller, and you're going to see how we solve that. So while we're at it here, we can go back to our command line and do PHP Thunder, and then we'll say make and say controller, and then the controller we want to make is called photo. So I'm going to do photo like that. Okay, controller created like so. All right. So if I now come back to this, let's see here, photos. This should lead to a single photo, right? So let's go to photos, and right where we have our link there, we're gonna do, sorry here, we're gonna do root,